All right. We're going to talk a little bit more. And so I was thinking, in my sickness, in my dark hours of being sick and with my infection, I don't know, taking my medicine, on a steroid, and doing all these things to heal yourself. And I have a video out on the new Harry Potter cast. And on this tweet, so we'll go through it. This tweet went pretty good as far as like people seeing my garbage that I'm talking about. And a lot of people agreed with me and a lot of people hate me, and that's okay too. That's means you're probably doing something right or saying something right. But essentially, I'll read it as it is on the screen here. No matter what, it's just too early for me. All these actors just look like they're cosplaying. And I think that the reason I feel like this, and a lot of people, is because it's too early, I think, just because it's a remake of the story. And I know they're like, well, we're gonna do the book version. We're gonna do a TV show version. Dude, Harry Potter, the old Harry Potter movies, which are old, like the first one came out 25 years ago, I think, they're still so well made. Like film and acting and culture and technology has not come that fast. It has not improved, I should say, enough in the past 25 years that we would need a remake. And I'll probably reference Star Wars a little bit. If you had George Lucas, who made Star Wars in 1978, and 25 years later, 30 years later, George Lucas made the prequels. And if he would have said, I'm going to make a remake of the originals, I don't think it would feel the same. I think people would be like, well, you do have the technology and you're doing a lot of like graphical, sensational things that would be interesting. But he didn't do that. He said, I'm going to make the prequels and I'm going to do this stuff. And you can love or hate the prequels. The prequels ended up being kind of a good thing, all things considered, with Star Wars. And it got me thinking about that when it came to Harry Potter. And I was like, why does this feel off to me? And I think it's because technology and culture and where we are has not changed that much since the new Harry Potters and on into the later Harry Potters, where it's not quite time for a remake. If they haven't remade original Star Wars yet, they don't need a remake, even if it's a different format, Harry Potter. So Dalorrian, then what did they do? They did the Fantastic Beast, and those were an L. Those were not well made. And I'm going to say something that I think they should do. And I'm not the first person to say this. I'm not the first person that's thought this. There's no way. I haven't seen anyone else talk about this. I just want to be clear. There's probably a YouTube video out there. There's probably a Reddit thread. Somebody's talked about this. This idea has probably been shopped, but not that I have seen. I think you have HBO that says, I really want to make money. I really want to make my own Harry Potter series, right? The thing that they probably should have done is also the thing they probably should not have done. But here's what I think. And I'll explain why I think they should have done it. And then I'll explain why I think they shouldn't have done it. And the shouldn't have done it is the sucky part of our culture. The should have done it is the good parts of Harry Potter and what could be with the universe of Harry Potter. One of my favorite universes. Harry Potter may not be my favorite story, but the universe, the world, I love probably better than Lord of the Rings, probably better than Star Wars, like the big three, we'll call them. Dune. I think it's my favorite universe, but maybe not my favorite story or whatever, right? Anyway, the should have done, I think HBO should have made a Tom Riddle series. I think if they wanted to do a TV show, seasons of 10 seasons, however many seasons, whatever the lore is of Tom Riddle. They should have got J.K. Rowling in a room with some writers, and they should have said, "Hey, we're gonna tell the story of Tom Riddle at Hogwarts. We're going to make that version." And with HBO, you have the liberty of being a little darker. Now it is children, and you would say, "Well, you can't tell a story about the bad guy." Star Wars did. Star Wars did, and kids love Anakin more than they love Luke. Kids love Anakin more than they love Luke. New kids. Even though Darth Vader became worse than Voldemort with the amount of people he slaughtered and killed. So you can't say that. That's not an argument against that. Hey, what's up, Greg, in the chat? Harry Potter TV show will be called Diarrhea in the Dixie Cup. I tend to agree. I hope the best, but I tend to agree. Now, and everybody hold your punches. I'm going to get into the why. What I'm suggesting would probably never work, but I do want to go into like it could work, and if that's what they should have done, right? The should have done is if you have to make Harry Potter and you have to make a new show, and HBO has to make it. Let's just assume that's true. You get J.K. Rowling in there, you get some writers in there, and you make a Tom Riddle story. He goes to Hogwarts. You can bring back Dumbledore as a new actor. You can bring back Hagrid. Hagrid's in there. Slughorn, Moaning Myrtle, I think, was around. I mean, like, there's like tons of characters that are already there. Then you can bring in new characters, and Voldemort can be his version of Anakin, which Anakin was just kind of like whiny, and then he was just so powerful he didn't know what to do with it, and he was like, Anakin was just to me like kind of like a barbarian. He was kind of like, I'm in love and I don't know what to do with it, and politics like are so simple to me, and I'll turn, like he was a very simple boy, but he was the best ever. So it was like, so how can I compare this? People may like say I'm wrong here, but like let's say like Joe Montana. Anakin might be like a Joe Montana, like, or something, like a football player. He's just a badass. He was just great. Some of these football players of old, they were just monsters, quarterbacks, right? And Anakin's kind of like that. He was like, I'm just going to brute force my way into greatness. And I'm not saying those old quarterbacks are not smart. But what I'm saying is like, they're very different than Tom Brady, who Tom Brady is now like the greatest of all time, right? Anakin was a little boy with daddy issues. True he was. Much like quarterbacks. But so what I'm saying is like Joe Montana, Anakin, Tom Brady, a little bit more calculated, a little wise, a little smarter, a little like, I kind of get it. That's your Tom Riddle. Like you're not gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like he can be growing up as a kid, but a little bit more calculated, a little bit more like I know how this works. I know how the world works. So he would be an interesting lead character, I think. And then you can make, several seasons of it, and go with it. And I got some AI slop here where I was like, if I was just thinking about this, like what could this like look like, and it's like, here's like a young Hagrid and like a young Moaning Myrtle. And like I said, she might not even be alive. And then he's here, and you can just kind of imagine like HBO could probably darken this up a little bit. Now, again, as kids, I'm not saying like go full Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones, like people are raping and murdering. Okay. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like, you can actually take Tom Riddle and make it very much like Harry Potter, where he's young and he does something good, maybe something questionable happens, but he's still kind of the innocent hero, and you can still kind of have your sweet, yay, Hagrid at the end of the movie moment. Like you could still have kind of like your kid moments if you want to do that. Like the prequel. I mean, the prequels, look, Phantom Menace. If you haven't seen the Phantom Menace since you're an adult, it's made for, it's made for babies. It's made for children. There's fart jokes. It's really dumb. It's like there's not a thing. Like nothing makes sense. So this could be very similar, and you could really tell a story, and you could really you'd have more time to kind of turn dark, and you could really turn dark in a very intriguing way, make some deals with the devil, so to speak. It would work. There are already plenty of shows about psychopaths. Exactly. It could absolutely work. Yeah, like, look, you got Tom Riddle, here he is, they're Slytherin. So it gets darker just because they're Slytherin. Snape's probably around at this point. Like, he knows him. Snape's a Death Eater, so you got Snape, this black girl, throw a black girl in there. You got to do that. Don't make Tom Riddle black. God, calm down, everybody. But, this is a gold mine. And then people like me who 10 out of 10, I will show my daughters the OG Harry Potters. Why? Because they're not black and white, y'all. It's like if my dad showing me shows he grew up with would have been like Andy Griffith and Gunsmoke and The Good and the Bad and Ugly, right? All totally perfectly fine for me as a kid. But the technology and color and pacing of movies and things like that were very different for me in the 90s and the 2000s than they were like in the 70s and the 60s and the 50s. Now it's not that different. Like, I can show my kid Harry Potter, and I don't think she's going to have she's not going to be on TikTok, but she's not going to have TikTok brain where she can't watch Harry Potter. Like, that is just too old. Maybe I'm wrong. But those movies actually, I just don't think they've aged enough. I don't think technology's come a long way. So I don't think we need to retire them yet. I don't think, and like ultimately you do retire them, don't you? If you try to push culture into accepting the new thing, or you do this weird thing where it's like a multiverse. And it's like, so now if I go talk to people or talk about Harry Potter, it's like, well, which one? The books, the show, the remake. Is it a remake? The HBO, the TV, like. No, man, come on, man. Just you're ripping one more thing. You're ripping one more thing out of culture. I talked about this a lot. I talk about this a lot in my YouTube videos. We're like, the only thing we all have in common anymore are politics. And that's why like Trump, Biden, AOC, these are the modern rock stars. And this is why everybody's so political, even though it's full of shit. And this is why like 10-year-olds know about politics, because we've all been like, we have been split apart on everything else. We don't all watch the same movies anymore or the shows. We don't listen to the same music anymore like we used to. So like, if I go talk to a person in common, we don't play all the same games anymore. If I go talk to a 10-year-old, an old man, an old woman, whatever, we don't really have all of the same things to talk about in common like we did whenever I was younger, in my 20s and in my teens. Now the only thing that everybody knows about are like politics, because there's only one version of it. There isn't indie politics yet. You'd be like, I'm really into the mayoral race of Ohio. Maybe, dude, maybe we'll get there. But like, we're not, that's the only thing culturally we're on the same page about. And that's the worst of us. Politics is toxic. Some of the worst people. So are the people that take up our mental space are the worst. They're not artists. They don't produce anything good, like artful or meaningful, or like, there's no art anymore. But anyway, you guys know that. So then here's another scene. Like this would pop off. I'm telling you, everyone would love this, right? Now I say, oh, there's a picture of me. Hey, how'd you get in there? So this is what I'm saying. I think that. Is this all of them? Let's see. Maybe I did two of the same. I thought I had another one. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe I just did two of the same. I think that this is what they should have done. And let's just, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit more. We'll just kind of type it up a little bit here. And I already kind of thought about it a little bit. There's a couple of reasons though. One, it's an unexplored story in the universe. Okay. So actually, let's just widen this out a little bit. Let's make this bigger. So you have the universe there, and it's practically the same, right? Like it's the time period's not that different. This would have been. I'm going to assume that the time period Tom Riddle is in is the equivalent of the 60s and 70s if Harry Potter starts in the 90s, lore wise, in the Muggle world or whatever. I mean, I guess does time even change in the Wizard world? I don't know. You know what I mean? Seems like they all do a lot of the same stuff. Fresh characters, but young, old characters or young. How do I want to say this? Younger version of loved characters, right? So this is your classic, like your young Dumbledore, which I know, like in the other ones that have just been a huge mistake. Fantastic Beasts is a huge mistake. Dumbledore's gay. Johnny Depp trying to do his thing. Like they're so boring. They're so dumb. No one cares. The American version of Harry Potter doesn't work. Let's don't do it. We're not doing it. I'm not in it. Maybe some people might be like, these are my favorite movies. That's cool, man. But they're not good. They're not going to have any staying power. So get rid of it. Get rid of it. You tried it. It's over. Riddle was late 40s and 50s. Harry's parents were 70s and early. Okay, perfect. 40s is even cooler, honestly. 40s and 50s is cooler. And I don't know if like, was Voldemort even in like the Fantastic Beasts? Because that was like 40s, right? That might have been 20s. I think that's 20s. So it's probably pre-Voldemort. And they probably try to tie it together. Damn, Dumbledore's old, huh? Anyway. So, and then number 3. Okay, so then you got... And I just want to say here first though, like dark potential, lots of mystery. It's kind of what I mean of Tom Riddle. Like you could really kind of go into our boy Tom and be like, all right, what's going on with him? Like what are his motivations? And you could, and again, he could be like Harry Potter, but maybe not the Anakin version, where, because like again, Anakin was kind of like, oh, I can do the Force, and he was just like I said, he was kind of D&D version. He's kind of like a barbarian or like a warrior in my mind. Like Tom Riddle's probably like a smarter kid, so like he's like gets something powerful, and he's like, oh my god, and he has to kind of battle like I actually know that I'm good. I actually know that I'm a badass, and I'm actually going to use that. I'm a little bit smarter. Whereas like, again, Anakin's kind of like, I can kill everybody, it is what it is. Deeper world building, expand Slytherin house. Oh my God. This is, we're all dying for this. Okay. Yeah, as an emo guy, and any of your 2009ers, like in our age group, and I know people are going to say, and they've already said, dude, this is the most common thing I've heard on Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, where you've heard me talk about this. You're all like, this ain't for us, man. I know that, bro. But guess what? Skulls and snakes and shit are cool to 10-year-olds too. Okay. You could do a very cool Slytherin thing. There's a lot of potential. Cultural early Death Eaters, bro. Early Death Eaters could be badass. I mean, it could just be like, it could be badass. I'm just saying. Like I think about that and I'm like, these are kind of like your, and especially like for the time period, these could be like your cigarette smoking, motorcycle riding rebels. But they're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? They're on brooms and they're smoking death sticks. I think that's from Star Wars, but you know what I'm saying? These could be kind of your rebels. You're like, and that could be kind of a cool thing. Maybe we could flesh this out. Okay. We don't have to settle on anything. Oh, also this is never going to happen. So there's that. Darker, mature themes. Well, here's the thing. And here's the thing. And I would not want this personally, because I do agree with people like this is for kids, but abandonment could be done tastefully for kids. Power obsession, manipulation could be a big part of it, which, I mean, to be fair, Harry Potter and Hermione and Ron were manipulative little sons of bitches. Okay. The little Nancy Drews themselves. They did a lot of stuff that was kind of morally wrong. Okay. But they did it for the greater good and we were all on their side. But I'm just saying, they don't get a pass with me. I remember when they froze Neville. Like, Neville, I'm sorry, you're going to be a stone rock for 20 hours. You know, they're getting all sorts of shit. It's traveling through time, Hermione. Messing with everybody. Come on. Breaking out prisoners. Anyway. But you could get, with your HBO and you want to be like perverts or violent or something. Harry Potter kids are in their late 20s and 30s now. We can go dark as fuck. True. Absolutely we could. I agree. Grindelwald. Now, Grindelwald was active in World War II. So the non-magic world fought Hitler. Magic world fought Grinwald. Oh, gotcha. Okay, so Grinwald was like Hitler. I guess I didn't realize that. I didn't finish the movies. I think I watched like 2 of them, and then I was like, me and my wife turned on like the 3rd one, I think, and we were like, we couldn't do it. And like, we have the old Harry Potter movies on all the time. I can't do this. This is not it. But that's good to know. Thank you, Greg, for keeping me up with this, because I don't know. And then finally, it builds toward, which is what you want, the connectivity of it all. This doesn't mess up your theme parks. This doesn't mess up the world. This doesn't compete with the original format, which is still great. Like I said, like, do a TV show if there's a need to reformat, but there is no need to reformat the Harry Potter movies as there are now. And so if there is no need for it and people are not asking for it, and you say, I'm going to give people a product that no one's asking for and no one needs, you're probably not going to do well. Okay? The people at HBO are not Steve Jobs. They may think they are, and they'll be like, they don't know what they want yet. I'm going to put an iPad phone in their pocket. I can see the future. You probably have some narcissist idiots at HBO who make a lot of money and think they're powerful because they bang little kids and own some Jewish friends or something. I don't know what goes on out there. But what I'm saying is that people want more Harry Potter. Sure. Yeah, we would love that. People definitely want that. But so that, you're there, you're right there. But then the product, though, it's like you can give us a very similar product, but it has to be different. You're giving us the same product, but different. You're taking the old Coke recipe and changing it to the new one. And didn't that happen with Coca-Cola? Isn't that why we all drink Coca-Cola Classic? Because Coca-Cola's like, all right, we got this thing. It's the biggest thing ever. Perfect recipe. Now, I'm not talking about the cocaine version, or am I? But it's like the biggest thing ever. I can't remember when this happened, like 80s, 70s, I don't know. And so they're like, hey, we're going to do a new Coca-Cola. And it was like, we're going to get something nobody wants. The same product, but different. And everybody hated it. So they're like, we got to bring back Coca-Cola Classic. Run it back. And so in my heart, I think like they're going to put out this TV show for 10 years. And like, when's the payoff? Like 20 years from now, okay, let me think about it. In 2045, will people be like, oh no, man, that HBO show is the jam. That's the one. Maybe culturally in 20 years we'll be like, the movies, no, it's the TV show. The TV show is the real one. I don't think that's going to happen, guys. Maybe it will. That's modern cinema. Let's take the timeless things we love and jam a bunch of modern bullshit in and destroy its legacy. True, it is kind of a propaganda machine, right? And like, just to get onto my Alex Jones soapbox here, I do think it is a goal. I don't know whose goal it is to take everything that is good and then I hate to say this, that like European or white people like, steal it, change it, muddy it up, and then put it out again in a subpar way. So they have less and less things that they're into. Could be wrong, but that's how it feels. And it's not really like a all white. It's like men. I feel like white men are kind of targeted. And I'm sure a black woman says, I feel targeted. And I'm sure, a Latino guy feels, I feel targeted. Maybe we all feel targeted because of like the different platforms we're on or something. I'm just saying, if there's something out there that white male culture kind of likes and is okay with, you better enjoy it now, because they're gonna redo it and make it bad and try to delete the old. You may be saying, no, dude, you're wrong. You're a racist. You're crazy. You're wrong. Look what they did to Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker was the biggest role model for males on planet Earth for years and years. And his biggest trait was forgiveness of the unforgivable. Such an important and such an incredible male role model. And with the new sequels, they were like, we're going to take something that is culturally bigger than all of us, and we're going to destroy it because we want to tell our version of the story. Like, they didn't keep it sacred at all. And I'm not saying like, oh, Luke Skywalker is the reason I'm alive. Like, that's not what I'm saying, guys. I'm just saying culturally, you don't do that. Like, you don't do that unless you are trying to destroy the culture that exists. And I understand being mad at the boomers. I understand being mad at the way things were and people that took advantage of other people and imperialism or whatever. I get that. Star Wars was not imperial, though. Star Wars was about the broken, the wounded, the defeated rising up and beating the horrible dark empire. And you took the hero of that was culturally the role model for generations of males, and you delete it. And you say, now, is that something that the broken and the defeated and the rebels of our day would do? Or is that something a dark empire would do? I think maybe a dark empire would take a positive male role model and try to wipe them away. I think a horrible dark empire would try to do that. All right, Greg got me on my Alex Jones soapbox, and I apologize. Evil cannot create; it can only corrupt and destroy. I agree, Greg. Anyway, where were we? It builds towards a known legacy. We all know where Tom ends up. Okay, so the whole time. The whole time you're building, and unfolding. So, like, even if it's mid, even if you're gonna do a TV show, let's say you're gonna do a TV show, even if it's a little from show to show, like, people would still be like, oh my God, is this them alluding to this thing and that thing? Like, people would love that, dude. People of all ages would love this. They would love it. They would love it. All right. Here's where I become a pessimist, old racist white man, I guess. I'm going to turn my fan on, by the way, because it's really hot. I'm still sick, guys. The reason they shouldn't do this, one, is modern writers and showmakers can't do this. Again, either lack of talent or goal to dilute good things. So they shouldn't make this show that could be incredible because modern writers and showmakers can't really make good prequels. Now, some people say that new Game of Thrones show is pretty good. I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But let's talk about it. Star Wars was fine, but honestly, Star Wars is not fine. I mean, in a lot of ways. But George didn't destroy his whole universe like Disney has. So, yes, it was for babies, and yes, it wasn't for me. As a 20-something, I didn't understand it because I was like, this isn't, this could be so much better. But I didn't understand like the layers and the building upon a new generation of kids and toys and like the greater goal there, because it has popped off for sure. And people may say, well, that's why we're doing the remake of Harry Potter. I don't think that's right. I don't think it's the same. New Lord of the Rings prequel is ass. I think we can all agree to that. I haven't watched it. Not going to watch it. Because it destroys the world. It destroys the universe. Star Wars sequels destroys the universe. So like we're talking about people now. Either it's a lack of talent in direction or mismanaged, or they actually do want to destroy this stuff and it actually is a thing. Like it could be that all writers now are activists. And it could be maybe they always were, but they're now not on my side. I'm not too crazy to admit that. Like George Lucas and the gang and Spielberg and all them, maybe they were, they were probably hippie activists, right? They're boomers. Everybody hates them. But boy, shit, they put out some good stuff for my generation, for the millennials. So, yeah. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm the asshole. Maybe I'm the bad guy. Maybe Harry Potter does need to die. Maybe Snape does need to be black. And maybe we do need to let all the old stuff die because, maybe it's over for us. I don't know. I'm just calling it like I see it. This is how I see it. Lord of the Rings prequel is ass. Star Wars prequel is ass. I'm trying to think, is there another prequels they've tried to do that are ass? Let's see. Prequel series that are bad. Well, the first thing that came up was Andor, and I don't think that's right. I think a lot of people actually like that. Let's just say Fantastic Beasts is bad. So like that doesn't give me a lot of confidence. I don't know how much J.K. Rowling has to do with that or whatever. There's tons of Walking Dead stuff. Walking Dead got bad itself though to me, so I don't know. Yeah, I guess there's probably more. Probably everybody in here who's watching this. Who's watching this? Lots of Star Wars prequel side stuff is bad. Andor is okay, apparently. I haven't seen it. That Obi-Wan show is kind of horrible. The John Wick stuff, is that bad? If it's Continental or whatever, that's probably bad. I don't know. What I'm saying is they shouldn't do it because they would probably take a good idea like I'm having here. And again, like I said at the beginning of this video, a lot of people have probably had this idea. And they would take something like this and they would probably screw it up. And you can't really, like, if the prequels of Star Wars taught us anything, it taught us that even if it's for kids or a different demographic, or the quality is not great story-wise, as long as you don't destroy your universe by like doing fundamentally different things, like changing the ideology of characters, growing them in a way that doesn't make sense, diversifying and swapping races and sexual orientations just to plug it, just like, hey, black people, hey, gay people, hey, trans people. You're just plugging it. It's like, I mean, Jesus, man, like if I'm trying to think of a comparison of this. Like back in the day, like famous writers or something, if they would have, you just been reading along one day and then they'd start plugging like stuff like this, it'd probably feel really off. And like I said, maybe they did do that, and maybe it did do whatever. I don't think that is the deal, but maybe I'm wrong. It just feels unnatural. But again, I admit, maybe I'm the problem. I will be humble enough to you, hateful commenters, if you made it this far and you're not completely blowing me up, hey man, maybe I got to do some soul searching. Maybe we should change Tom Riddle into a black guy. Maybe we do need to do that for some reason, and I just don't understand it. Maybe Moaning Myrtle is very important that she's trans, and we find out that she's had a penis all along. Maybe we do need that. I don't know, man. And maybe Hagrid's the bad guy this whole time. Maybe Hagrid, before he got to the kids in Harry Potter, he was like human trafficking or something. I don't know, man. I mean, he had that big giant out in the woods. That's his brother. And he does smuggle a bunch of animals. Maybe Hagrid smuggles more than just big retarded brothers and animals. There's a reason he lives off a shack outside of he lives in a shack outside of the grounds. He could do a little wand trick and there's like a whole dungeon down there full of God knows what. Maybe Hagrid is a bad guy and we didn't know it. Anyway, so this is my rant about this. Like, I'm not going to go on Twitter right now. I think I'm going to try to play some Ready or Not. Me and a buddy played it recently, and I enjoyed it. We played it on PlayStation, and that's just where he can play it. And boy, talking about a dark game, that can get kind of dark pretty quick. But I'm interested in trying out the Commander mode, so I might play that for a little bit and just see if I can S tier the first one or second mission or something. I think it's like a gas station where a bunch of people have taken over, but yeah, so if you're watching this video, I should have said this earlier, give me a like, subscribe, please. It helps out a little bit. What do you think? Do you think Tom Riddle would have been a better idea than a remake? Or am I full of shit? Is the remake going to actually be amazing? And I'm just too short-sighted to see it. I'm not afraid to admit that. Maybe we do need it. I don't know. It feels like no. It feels like an unnatural thing to do. Yeah, it's going to take a lot of convincing for me to bury the old and get into the new. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I'll keep the stream going and I'll update the title. But for you guys that are in here,